Believe it or not, the Bible is not just trying to make us debate stuff about women's roles.
All right, tricky question. Number 2, is Deborah a judge?
A lot of people say that she is not, and I have a problem with them saying that, because in Judges chapter 4, verse 4, it says, "Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel." Israel at that time. So now I realize I have a lot of Bible degrees and I'm super intelligent. But it does seem to me that if you're judging, then you're probably a judge.
And I, as a layperson,
So
without a Bible degree, would agree.
Yeah.
From reading it.
That's good.
Okay, but for real, why is it even a debate whether or not she's a judge?
So what they did is they're over here in 1 Timothy 2 and, Ephesians and parts of 1 and 2 Corinthians, and they're deducing from that women shouldn't be official leaders. Now, for the record, if you want to see my bit on 1 Timothy 2, you can click this information card. But they're deducing that women shouldn't be in leadership, and then they're looking back and she seems to be in leadership, so they're going, well, she must have not been an official judge, right? Because God doesn't contradict. Yeah, because God doesn't contradict himself. So I applaud them for researching all of Scripture and for holding, that God's character is consistent throughout the Old and New Testament. But what I do think is important to note is that in Judges chapters 4 and 5, the author's intention is not to say that what she is doing is wrong. From this text, she's portrayed as amazing.
She has a place.
Yeah, she's the
place
judge.
You go
she's the heroine. Everybody loves Deborah. She's the boss. She's rebuking, and she even does go into war as well with Barak, and she encourages him.
But she's not the military leader.
She's not.
So it's almost like the two roles have been separated.
Yeah, so it's kind of like they co-judge in a way. She has more of the political side of it and prophetics. She's called a prophetess. That tells me she's prophetic in her ministry. Ultimately, the reason why it's important for us to discuss this is, one, we do need to portray Deborah as a judge. It says she's judging. Yeah. So I think we need to put that in our mindset as we wrestle with what the Scripture teaches about women. And then we also need to realize that there's something different going on in this text. It's actually, believe it or not, the Bible is not just trying to make us debate stuff about women's roles. It's actually making a theological point, not that it's right or wrong for her to do this, but that it is unique for Deborah as a woman to be doing this. And you actually see the Bible riff off of that topic of just, this is kind of a weird judge or a weird way for God to work in the narrative of Jael.
Unlikely, I think is
unlikely.
Yes,
that's a great way
Not
to say
weird
that.
as in wrong, but he uses means that are often unexpected. Yeah. And it's part of, I think, how he shows who he is.
Yes.
And what he loves and what he values.
Yeah, and you even see Deborah, she's coupled with Ehud, right? And it says multiple times, he was left-handed. Well, why does it say that? It was weird for a warrior to be left-handed, or unlikely, right? So it's not wrong to be left-handed. It's not wrong to be a woman in leadership. It was unlikely. It was
kind of
unique.
a secret weapon for the Benjamites.
Right. And it's pointing to the fact that God does tend to work in some unlikely ways. So that's ultimately what we can learn from the fact that Deborah is a judge, and that will transition us to our next tricky passage, which is talking about Jael. Tricky passages, verses. So that's what's going on.
She forgot her train of thought.
I did. Okay, hold on. Cool.
Okay, Jael.